Hi everyone, welcome to Transformation Now. This is for the section of awake. Awake. And awake is about understanding, separating your natural life from the awakening of your spiritual life. There's a sharp distinction between who you are in terms of your life growing up as a child and who you are in spirit. And of course, there's a unity between the two, but there's also a distinction. You were formed first in the spiritual realm. All things came from the spiritual realm. And you were placed and knitted into the womb of your mother. Psalm 39, you can read that. It very, very well describes that. So we are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And now more than ever, we need to wake up. Wake up to the fact that we are incredible, beautiful, unique beings, sons and daughters of God. And it's so vital that we wake up to why we're here, who God really is, and you can only know that by spirit. You can read all the books you want, and they'll help you, but it's a spirit-to-spirit connection. And in looking into the face of God through the Spirit, you'll find out who you are, who you really are, not what all the programming that we've been exposed to throughout our whole life. And yes, there's been a deliberate attempt to rob us of our true identity and suppress us, and not who our family members made us feel we are. If you came up in a healthy, beautiful family environment where you loved and nurtured, that's wonderful. It's pretty rare, but it's wonderful. And many of us have had our identities severely wounded by how we were raised as children. Even in the best of homes, we're very imperfect at knowing how to love and nurture the precious child that when you're in your child state, very, very impressionable, very, very sensitive. So even in the best of homes, with proper nurturing, you will not be given your full identity of who you are in spirit. That's something that only spirit can do. And no matter how rough your life has been, people that have not even perhaps even had fathers or mothers and have missed what we all know is vital nurturing, God can bring you forward in the fullness of who you are. God can bring you forward in the fullness of your beauty, your uniqueness, because you were knit, you were formed in heaven, beautiful and perfect, with intention and love and ability that is above or ask what you can even imagine when it's unfolding. And you have not missed out. You can be fully brought forward, fully healed from trauma, fully transformed. So never let your past think that you can't have the fullness of your future. And I have much experience. My wife has a tremendous testimony. She never felt safe. She was never, from the time she was in the womb all through her life, she was never in a safe environment. She had to learn to protect herself in a very dangerous situation. And she was able to come forward in a beautiful way. So she's a remarkable person. She is an overcomer. So be encouraged. The best is yet to come. Um, my heart is for this Transformation Now series to be a gateway to discovering the best of who you were created to be. And I have such faith that even though I'm a person of no reputation, nobody knows who I am. I've been in a cave for 20 years. I've been in obscurity is what I mean. And I've been waiting for an opportunity to speak, but I wasn't ready to speak because I didn't know what to say. I thought I did, but now I know what to say. And that you are coming forward into your destiny at the greatest time to be alive. You have been chosen to be a part of the greatest generation of people ever. The adversity will be greater than any people have ever faced, but the connection with who you are and the Most High God who formed you is going to be so close. You'll have no fear. You'll do the impossible and be very comfortable in it. I love the line in Alice in Wonderland. In a lot of the movies, they have both dark programming and light programming because the creators who created them are in the soup of light and darkness. So yeah, I have a whole series where I'm going to pull out the amazing things that were brought forward in movies. But Alice would say, because her father mentored it to her, I like to do 6 impossible things before breakfast. That's who you are. In the movie Alice in Wonderland, and she went down the hole, and the first thing that she was confronted with is these creatures saying, "Is she Alice? Is she the real Alice? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't." And Alice was saying, because she didn't remember she had been there before, she was saying, "I'm not that Alice. I'm not the one who's going to slay the whatever the dragon creature's name was with the Volpal sword or what, you know." It's been a while since I've watched it, but she didn't know for sure who her identity really was, and neither did those in that dimension. And it's really an unfolding story about waking up to who she is so she can do the impossible. That's your story. Maybe you do know in part, or maybe you don't, but you don't know who you are because you don't recognize that you were formed in the third heaven. You were formed by the Creator, Most High God, for a purpose and a destiny, and to be integrated into a body that is glorious, the body of Christ. So my part is to wake you up to who you are, as I'm waking up to who I am. Pull your spirit forward. Recognize that you can do the impossible, that it's not too late, no matter how low you are right now. The lower you are, the more you think that you can't do what you've always desired to do, the better positioned you are to do it, because you have to do it out of spirit. If you do it out of your 5 senses, out of self-confidence, you're going to muck it up. You're going to muck it up. Understand the repeating stories in the Bible. Put in an impossible situation. God leads people in an impossible situation so that they look to Him and the power of Spirit to fulfill it. Over and over, Abraham tried to fulfill his calling to be the father of the multitudes, even though his wife was barren. It wasn't until it was impossible that God let it happen. Gideon was a scared Israelite hunkering down in a wine press below the ground, and he was gathering wheat and separating the wheat because he was afraid the Midianite armies were going to come and take it like they always did. So he was, in a sense, cowering. And when God appeared to him, he said, Gideon said, "Why is this happening, O Lord? You are the great God that led us through the sea and delivered us from Egypt. You are the Most High God, and we know who you are, but we are being overtaken by this enemy." And so God took this um, cowardly, afraid Israelite and brought him forward to, with 300 men, defeat the thousands of the Midianites' army. And afterwards, they wanted to make Gideon the king of the Israelites. So, and there's so much in that story pointing to what's going on in this end day. But the theme over and over and over again is God takes somebody who doesn't think they can do it, because then they'll have to operate out of their spirit nature over and over and over again. Peter, who denied Christ 3 times, was the head of the church of Jerusalem. And but it was a process for him to be broken. Brokenness takes time. Moses found out, came to the knowledge that he was an Israelite that was raised miraculously in the house of the Pharaohs. And he tried to fulfill his calling. He ended up killing an Egyptian soldier and having to flee for his life. And he was 40 years in the desert. He was 40 years in the house of Pharaoh, 40 years in the desert. And by the time he was ready to fulfill his mission, he had no confidence. He said, "I can't speak, I stammer, I can't face people." Because if you're in the desert raising sheep for years and years, you lose your confidence in interacting with people, and you just become interiorly focused. That's my story. I'm here talking to you, but most people consider me dysfunctional because I haven't been able to relate to the church, and I haven't been able to find my place in the world. And it's been very difficult, but I know now what my mission is. But believe it or not, I've become a dysfunctional mess. People that know me are like, "Oh my goodness, Roger. He's always talking about this. He's never doing it, and he's out of sync with the world." I started my life, in business. I had my own company. I dealt with major Fortune 500 companies. I've dealt with Walt Disney General Foods when I was 20. I was rocketing to a career, and I crashed and burned after 5 years, and I've been in the desert ever since. And so, believe me, it hasn't been easy coming to this point in my life. But I'm excited. I'm full of life. I've walked through cancer. I've walked through many challenges. My wife of 20 years has walked through it with me, and it has been very difficult. God has used my wife and I to bring each other to refinement, which is not an easy thing. But we wouldn't change it. We wouldn't want to do it again, but we wouldn't change it. And we're both so excited about being alive at a time when God is allowing us to wake up to who we really are. So I'm encouraging you that this is a time you're being brought forward to your destiny. I'm going to show you things that are going to excite you, that are going to give you hope, that are going to give you life. You will recognize the Spirit of God in your belly. That's what it's about.